Watch this.
It's Monday. Let's kick off the week here on the 208. We'll start with a question. What is the fate of the Union Block building in Boise? Well, the city of Boise now has control. We're taking a look at the damage that's done there and plans for the future. There is a water rights battle flowing across Idaho. Groundwater versus surface water. What does it all mean? We'll dive in. Speaking of water, some new residents floated over to join a community. One they clearly stick out in.
We can't have this building occupied if we feel it's unsafe.
And that forced the businesses and offices inside the building to close. And this was back in November. Fast forward to today, and the city of Boise still thinks that the oldest standing building in Boise, the Union Block building, is unsafe to occupy. So now the city of Boise is taking over the building from the owner, Ken Howell, but not without ample warning. So how did we get here? What is going on? Well, on November 9th of last year, the city of Boise evacuated and condemned the Union Block building on West Idaho Street because of concerns over the structural integrity, which also forced the businesses and the offices inside the building to close up. Ada County Highway District closed the sidewalk and one lane of traffic that same day. City of Boise then gave the owner, Howell, 30 days to get permits and 60 days to fix the structural issues. In December, Howell appealed the city's decision to close the building. Then Howell skipped the appeal hearing on January 30th. The city says that Howell has continued to send in plans to fix the building, but so far it wasn't enough. The city later extended their deadline to 180 days, but now the city is taking the building over and will charge Howell for the necessary repairs. So what about the businesses? Well, we talked to some of them after they were forced to move out without any notice. And today, our Aspen Shumpert talked to them again on where they stand about possibly moving back in or not.
The future of one of the oldest buildings in Boise remains a work in progress. Back in November, the city of Boise ordered everyone in the Union Block building to vacate because of safety concerns, including some restaurants.
They told me I couldn't open my restaurant.
In January, the Union Block owner, Ken Howell, appealed the city's vacant. The city says they gave Howell 180 days to get needed repairs done and approved. When he missed that deadline, they gave him another 30 days. Repairs still haven't been done. Now, the city is stepping in to complete repairs on the owner of the building's dime. But for some of the building's former tenants, it's too little, too late.
And 2 days later, the owner of this building called me and said he had a spot for me. So we came over and made a deal.
Moon's Kitchen, once at the bottom of the Union Block building, reopened just around the corner on a second-floor spot of 8th Street.
It was perfect.
And no matter where Moon's goes, their regulars will follow.
I started working for Moon's in 2010 when they were over here on Bannock Street, and it used to be a storefront. We used to have the milkshakes in there.
Then they expanded and moved into the Union building.
I love Moon's.
Always coming back for his favorites.
Shakes and their Blue Moon burgers, the blue cheese. That has always been the best. That's their signature style right there.
It took a little while for customers to find Moon's new spot, but now business is booming.
We're almost twice as busy as we were down there.
After hearing the city is taking over repairs and the Union Block building could open back up one day, Tori says they aren't going back.
We have 21 years of a lease here. So.
Good news for Burwell, Moon's Kitchen will be serving milkshakes and burgers for decades to come on the corner of 8th and Main. The city says because of current litigation, at this point, they can't share any details about the repairs or their plans. But they did share this statement with me, saying after giving the owner of the building notice to address repairs and the owner not doing them, the city will now take over necessary repairs to the front of the building. Moon's Kitchen wasn't the only resident in this space, and there's a few others, Joe, that are kind of working through this as well.
Yeah, I'm curious. Did you hear from any of the others today? I know you're reaching out, wanting to find out what happened to these businesses.
Yeah, we reached out to Mai Tai, which was another business in that building, and they aren't giving a statement at this point. They are not sure about what they're going to do about the downtown Boise location, but they do have the Meridian location that is open.
Well, I know there's a lot of attention from the community on, of course, an iconic spot in Boise. I guess we'll just have to watch over the next year or several years to find out what happens with it. Any indication on when we might get any information, or is it tied up in courts?
Tied up in courts. The city couldn't share that detail with us, but we'll keep a lookout for when they do share that.
Okay, Aspen Shumpert reporting for us here on the 208. Appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about a really complicated issue here on a Monday. Water is life, and controlling the use of it comes with heightened stakes. Agricultural operations across Idaho, they depend on water to stay in business and to provide us with things we need, like food and supplies. But what if there isn't enough water to go around? The director of the Idaho Department of Water Resources issued an order on May 30th to curtail or shut off groundwater rights that are junior or more recent to March 31st, 1954 in certain groundwater districts. This is because the identified districts, 4 of them at first, they are failing to comply with the approved mitigation plans to address the status of nearly 74,000 acre-feet of water to senior surface water users. So this comes down to groundwater and surface water. Let's dive in. There's a long-standing conflict between surface water users, who tend to have more senior water rights, and groundwater users, who have more junior rights. The major conflict right now is over rights to the Eastern Snake Plain aquifer. The groundwater users having their water cut off say that they are now in dire straits, but there are laws protecting the senior rights of surface water users. Idaho follows the prior appropriation doctrine of first in time, first in right for water rights. Senior priority water rights get their water fulfilled first. That's followed by junior water rights. And if there's not enough water to fill all the water rights, the junior users can potentially be curtailed. So the problem, the Eastern Snake Plain aquifer has been declining since the 1950s as groundwater pumping increased for irrigation. This has reduced aquifer levels and spring flows that feed surface water sources. The issues between surface and groundwater users created the development of a methodology or a measurement to determine material injury or impact to those senior water users. The methodology plan has been implemented for several years to evaluate water supply and crop need conditions to determine the magnitude of the impact to the senior surface water users. An agreement was finalized in 2016 between surface water and groundwater groups. It required groundwater reductions of 240,000 acre-feet per year, or 13% across the region by groundwater districts. But now, some groundwater districts are looking to follow an older 2009 mitigation plan involving the delivery of shortage water to the Surface Water Coalition instead. There's a dispute over how it's all calculated, and this year, the director of the Idaho Department of Water Resources calculated that there would be a shortage in the Twin Falls Canal Company's senior water surface, and that's users of 74,100 acre-feet of water. So IDWR notified junior groundwater users back on May 10th that they would need to show how they will mitigate for the water shortfall. Non-compliant groundwater users were given 15 days from May 30th to join a compliant district to avoid the curtailment or the shutoff. Some say this isn't a possibility at this point in the season. Others say this is simply the rules. Again, first in time, first in right is the law of the land in the Gem State. Very complicated stuff. And I wanted to add that Governor Little's office says that from the original 4 curtailments, 2 more groundwater districts became compliant back on Thursday with an approved mitigation plan. We aren't sure, though, specifically which 2, but it gives them safe harbor from the curtailment or the cutoff. And I was working on this today to try to get an answer, and sources close to negotiations between the camps tell me that there are significant talks ongoing today to address the issue. And the hope from my sources is that they will have a solution across the board soon. We will find out. Hey, a quick update for you on the Boise ITD campus controversy. If you missed the story, long story short, ITD was set to sell the Boise campus to a private buyer. The Idaho legislature disagreed with the idea, saying it was a valuable property worth keeping, not parting with. So to block the sale of the site, the legislature included language in the ITD budget. So now there's a legal question over all of this. So last week, we told you about an executive session meeting for the Board of Examiners, and that board is the governor, the attorney general, and the secretary of state. And we know that they met to determine legal strategy or changing legal strategy, but it was all behind closed doors. This all comes after Governor Little's office told us that the AG filed arguments, a stance on the controversy in court, without his approval. So in a 2-to-1 vote behind closed doors, Little and Secretary McGrain, they moved to change their stance. And I should say the vote was done in public, but the work was done behind closed doors. But anyways, all of this is now reflected in this, a new filing in the case. The AG's office tells the Idaho Supreme Court that the Board of Examiners takes no position in this matter, disclaims all interest in, and retracts all pleadings previously filed on its behalf, and they waive any participation in the matter unless the court makes them. So the board, they say, plays no role in deciding whether to sell the property. And the Board of Examiners, they wanted to argue that they're basically administrative. And the statement goes on to say in a court filing that the Board of Examiners is not a proper party to the litigation, and they would welcome a dismissal from the case by the court if the court deems it proper. So the parties in the case, if the court goes along with it, would then be ITD, state of Idaho, and then the Idaho legislature, along on a diametrical side, the private group that brought the suit, Hawkins Companies. Multiple agencies helped recover the body of a man who went missing while swimming in the Payette River. Our Abby Davis has details on that and the latest in our area on today's 411.
Boise County, Gem County, and the Ada County Sheriff's Office dive team recovered the body of 24-year-old Daniel Franson from the Payette River this morning. The Sheriff's Office said he went missing after going into the water on May 31st near the train bridge in Horseshoe Bend. The Gem County Sheriff's Office says it received a call near Montour Bridge today. Air search agencies then spotted his body.
It's a huge loss for our employees, for the citizens of Coeur d'Alene.
A fire destroyed a Coeur d'Alene police ancillary building early Sunday morning. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Despite the fire department being right next door, firefighters couldn't save the building. The deputy fire marshal suspects it caused millions of dollars in damages.
If they don't come, the economy crashes here. We have to have the tourists.
Wyoming is in a state of emergency after a landslide wiped out a part of the Teton Pass connecting Jackson to East Idaho. 10,000 vehicles pass through each day for work, school, and to visit Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks. The Idaho Transportation Department said drivers should expect a 30 to 75-minute detour to get to Jackson Hole through US 89.
It's a bunch of folks from all walks of life being together in community, sharing shared values of inclusivity, love, community.
Around 4,000 people showed up last night to celebrate the first ever Pride Festival in Canyon County. Organizers say they are thrilled with the turnout. There were a few protesters who said they want to take a stand against events like this in their community. The Treasure Valley's main Pride Festival in Boise is in September. The Meridian Police Department is showing its appreciation for the military with patrol cars. Police say the camouflage-style markings and words are meant to pay tribute to people serving our country. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Davis.
Some beautiful sunsets in Idaho, and here's another one as you look at the background here. So sunset times in Boise, let's just talk about that. June the 10th, okay, so for tonight, our sunset is at 9:25. It's happened. We've got those long evenings already, and I suppose you probably started to enjoy them already. Just to let you know what we expect as we head into the summer months. Now, summer, of course, beginning as we get further into June. So you're looking at June 22nd. This is the time where we have the longest sunsets, and they'll last clear from June 22nd through the end of the month. They're pretty close to that. And that means a sunset that's about 9:30, and that means you'll have some light up until just shortly before 10 o'clock. And then on June the 30th, the sunset starts to drop. You can see 9:29 by July 15th, so we're talking 15 days later. We're looking at a sunset at 9:23. On the end of July 31st, it's 9:07, and then by the time we get into August, we're going to be seeing those 9 o'clock times kind of going away, and we're going to be dropping down somewhere just before 9 o'clock, even as early as 8:47. Still not so bad for the summer months, but what I'm showing you here is kind of take advantage from this point on all the way into the end of June, maybe even to the middle of July, because that's when we're going to be having some of our later sunsets. Of course, that's with quite a bit of the heat too. Wanted to show you this map, because this map just shows you some of the temperatures as you see along through here, even down in Salt Lake City, where highs are getting near 90 degrees. Just kind of think of it that way. And then you can see it's a little cooler here and here. Now, where's the really cool air? Well, it's off the coastline up through here and always moving through Canada, which is the case. So let's put this into motion. You'll see that during the week, and this is all the way through Wednesday, we're still looking at those warm temperatures. Now, watch what happens here. We're getting into Thursday, and watch how this low starts to form and pulls into the area, and then our temperatures start to drop. Now we're looking at about a 15 to 20 degree drop in temperature. The coolest temperatures, though, are here through Washington, northern Idaho, and of course through Canada. So that kind of gives you a little idea of what to expect as we take a look at our 10-day temperature profile here. As I was talking about, at least through Thursday, we're looking at these temperatures up there, maybe even Friday. The dry cold front is actually expected later on Friday night. And you can see that as we get into Saturday, it's 79 and 71 for Sunday. Right now, we're looking at breezy conditions. Most of the showers and thunderstorms are likely north of us. But we decided to talk about a first alert weather day because it's just another one of those big changes that are going to take place that you kind of need to understand and see it as we move on into the weekend, especially if you're thinking about the mountains. Some of the lows in the mountains on Sunday morning could be down into the upper 30s. So don't expect that really nice warmth of summer in some of those mountain locations, especially as we look ahead to this weekend. So as we look at the Northwest right now, we're just sunny and hot. Of course, as you take a look here over most all of the Northwest, I can show you where that colder air is at. It's forming right along through here off the coast of British Columbia and right here off the Aleutians. So that's very typical as it moves to the north through Canada, keeping Canada cool through most of the summer months. But this one's going to sag a little further south, and that's going to be pushing into our area. But that's not until the end of the week. So high temperatures now near 90 around most of the Magic Valley. Central Mountains, we're looking at temperatures about 80, maybe even a little bit above. Long Valley, same thing in the western mountains. Down here in valley locations, temperatures will be some 90s, as you notice there. And Boise tomorrow, 94, Meridian with 93 degrees for the high. Here's your 7-day forecast, and here's the changes, which are first alert weather days. A little more dramatic in the mountains than what we're seeing here in the valley. We're going to keep an eye on the valley for you just to let you know if there's more changes than what we're seeing for right now. But for this time, we're looking at breezy conditions and quite a bit of a temperature drop moving into this weekend.
The weekend looks nice. Thanks, Rick. This week, 26 years ago, the River Place Retirement Center got a bunch of brand new residents who've had the whole place crying foul, but in a good way. And after Idaho Life reporter John Miller got a half dozen calls, he just grabbed a camera and got the scoop from a resident. We'll introduce you to the nice new neighbors in today's 208 Redial.
So you got some new residents here, huh?
Yes, we do. Look at them, aren't they cute? Aren't they cute, though? Oh, yes, you are so cute.
Liz Randall must have said it
Aren't they cute?
1,000 times.
As my husband always said, honey, you are nothing but a bucket mouth. And he was so right.
So who quacks more, you or the ducks?
Oh, honey, that's hard to say. No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It's all right.
Actually, it's not, really.
Of course, the lousy husband, he did what he wanted to, and then he took off.
He took off, huh?
Sure.
Leaving 11 babies with one mother, 74 seniors, and Liz Randall.
Where's that sorry husband of yours? He flew the coop. He got what he wanted, and he left.
Left the seniors with 11 reasons to be a little happier. Ask anyone.
They're great. Oh, I think they're wonderful.
Then ask Liz Randall.
Yeah, there's the mommy, but that lousy daddy of you all just took off.
Maybe he knew it was the perfect place to start a family, and maybe he couldn't stick around, or maybe he was afraid of Liz Randall.
Who knows? But the sorry son of a gun daddy, he just did his job and left. We had other business to tend to. Well, yeah, I know, but that's the problem with them. Oh, my goodness, aren't they being good children?
To a mom doing her best to raise a family of 11 kids and the spirits of 75 seniors.
Just like your own little grandkids, huh?
Sure, great-grandkids.
Great-grandkids.
Yeah. You did a good job, Mommy.
John Miller.
That lousy husband of yours, though.
Idaho's News Channel 7.
He just took off.
So in 1998, wildlife experts who visited the ducks expected them to be old enough to fly that coop by the late summer of '98. Maybe they eventually flew back to retire at the home. Who knows? All right, comment time. Let's see how we did this half hour. Oh, there's some water there. Thanks, Justin. Okay, Preserve Idaho. What is it with contractors who can't do the job? Kip, it's a good question. We will find out. Interesting, the first 3 articles on the 208 tonight centered on stories which involve lawyers and courts. Steve wants to know how many lawsuits are going on. And to be honest, Steve, it is so hard to track. There are a lot of different lawsuits across Idaho in terms of the agencies involved in different parts of the court system. We will try to dig into this, but that answer may be more complicated than the question. But we'll see what we can do. This person wants to know what the difference between groundwater and surface water is. The very quick explanation is the surface water, think rivers and streams and lakes, kind of just the natural flowing surface water. When we talk about groundwater, we're talking into the aquifer, the water that goes deep into the ground, and you use a well and pipes and devices to kind of glean that out. So that is a very short explanation, but a good question. Several of you had it. This person says, where is John Miller now? What is he up to? We checked in with John actually about a year ago, and at the time he was living at Kansas City, Missouri, and he was running his own production company, and I believe that is what he's still doing today. But yeah, we miss him. One of the all-time greats, John Miller. Lynn says, Rick is a spiffy dresser, puts most of you to shame. Rick, I would agree. You are the sharpest dresser maybe in the history of television news. Look at that guy. Even in the shadows, he looks good. All right, appreciate it. We'll see you next time. And I'm told there was a rainbow in Cascade. Look how good he looks. Look at that.